Hey, legends, how the bloody hell are you going? If you like that interview and you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. Keeps me doing what I'm doing and make you a bloody legend. Ripper, too right, mate. Okay, as Zoom talks to us again, hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with crank.com and with thatmetalstation.com. Today I'm getting to have a chat with Justin Lopez, bassist and vocalist for Archangel, Texas thrash metal band, who are due to release Casus Belli 23rd of July. Cheers for joining me, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
No, absolute pleasure, man. I love thrash metal, dude. It's a cool genre. I love all metal, but thrash metal's kind of the one I kind of that really got me into metal back in the day, man. First off, can you tell me a little bit about the history of you guys? Kind of where you've come from up to now.
Okay, yeah. Well, we have like two formation dates that we kind of play around with. We say the day that we actually like got together. It was sometime in like August of 2015. That was the first time we started practicing. We were all like, I had just turned, or I was about to turn like 19, I think. All the other guys were like 16, 15, so I felt a little weird. I was like, these guys are kind of young, but nobody my age was into like thrash. And I was just lucky enough to find these dudes. We started practicing. We did like some Metallica, some Judas Priest covers, things like that. Then we finally played our first show in January of 2016. We kind of consider that as like a real formation, like the real, like when the band actually started. So it's in that like 6 month or like 5 month range from like August to January, where we're kind of like, yeah, we kind of formed and figured out what we were in that time. From there, we just started, we kept trying to play as many shows as we could just to get used to crowds, get used to playing together. We practiced every weekend, played a show almost every weekend. We were just really going hard with it. And we started writing originals and things like that. And so eventually, as time went on, we were like, well, people are asking for CDs, people are asking for recordings. What are we going to do? We decided to release an EP in 2018. That one's called Warband. We toured around with that. We're from Texas, by the way. We're from the very bottom of Texas as well. The part that's literally 10 miles away. We're 10 miles away from Mexico, the border. So we're there at the very, very bottom of Texas. For us to go play in a big city, it takes us 4 hours to get there. From us to San Antonio. That's the biggest city we have next to us. So it takes a while to get anywhere to tour. So for us to tour, just Texas alone is a big thing. So we did that in 2018. We toured Texas. We went to the north, we went to the east, and we went around central Texas and of course the south where we're from. And then after that, we released a single the following year, I believe. And we had planned to record this album in 2019 or 2020. We had planned to record it, and then COVID hit and everything just lost its momentum. We couldn't practice anymore. We couldn't write anymore. We couldn't do anything, we just kind of hit a standstill. I think everybody did. Right. It just kind of got tough for us. Eventually we found our way into a studio this in January 2021, we were able to get in there. We finished up because we all work and we're all students and stuff like that. We weren't really able to go in like weeks at a time. We would go in on like the weekends or like the evenings on certain days. We finished our album and, we're really proud of it. 10 tracks with some things in there that might surprise some people. It's not all of it, like really straightforward hardcore thrash. There are some things in there where, we wanted to stretch our legs. We wanted to spread our wings and just kind of, feel it out. Because, we are a thrash band, that's kind of like our bread and butter. But we want to be able to play what we want, even if it's not exactly thrash all the time. So that's kind of what we did with this. It's kind of like we put our personalities into the album, and that's what people are going to get. If they don't like it, okay. But hopefully people do enjoy it. Hopefully people do like it, because there are some, rippers on there. But there's also some things that'll make you, I don't know, maybe feel something, hopefully. So
Yeah, definitely. It is a ripper of an album. It has all types of feels on there as well. As you said, you've got a real versatility and it's kind of not locking yourself into the hardcore thrash all through the album. And I think Priest of the Void was kind of the track that when you dropped kind of showed a little more versatility as well, that acoustic version and everything. And that was a really cool track as well. Can you tell me about that one?
Yeah, so it was like right when COVID had hit. We were kind of in this kind of like, what are we gonna do? You know, like we want to record, we want to hang out, we want to play, but we can't. So we ended up, I sent something to the guys and I was like, hey, how about we do something virtually, right? What if we kind of, I'll put it together on my computer and we'll make it work. Just send me your videos and I'll put it all together. And you know, I'm not the best you know, studio engineer or anything, but I tried my best. You know, we worked out a couple versions of it to what we thought sounded good. um and eventually we just released it. We wanted something a bit more tender for a time that seemed a bit more, you know, tender for people. People were dying, people were getting sick. We figured it would be more appropriate to do something soft like that. And we had been wanting to release something a bit more intimate anyways. You know, we like playing pretty things because it for us it's more expressive than just the constant anger and like, you know, kind of stuff. That stuff feels great and it's really fun to do, but sometimes it's nice to just back off and give some dynamics, you know, other than just loud screaming all the time.
Yeah, and metalheads like us, we love metal. It's our number one bread and butter. We bleed it, but we love all sorts of music as well. So it's good to see when bands kind of experiment with different sounds and just try not to lock themselves into one sound too. So for me, it's good to hear bands doing stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like for us, we really got into Opeth a couple of years ago, and like that's all we listened to for the past couple of years. So we're like all about going like super dirty, heavy, nasty, and then like really nice and beautiful and light, and that's kind of like that's kind of what we were going for, and like what we want to strive for. You know, that ability to have both. You know, let's give them the brutal stuff and then let's give them the beautiful stuff at the same time. So that was kind of what we were going for. We were going for more of the beautiful kind of haunting with Priest of the Void. And yeah, you'll find some of that kind of stuff on the new album as well.
Yeah, yeah, it is a great album. I've actually got to have a listen to it as well. So it is a fucking crack and listen, and the fans are going to enjoy this one. Can you tell me what was the recording process like? How was it affected for you? You know what I mean? You got in there. Was it a bit easier this time than the EP back a couple of years ago? Or tell me a little bit about this process.
Yeah, so for it was interesting for us at least because it was still kind of a process of when can we go in? Do we want to go in together? You know, or how are we going to feel comfortable in this new space kind of thing? We went with a friend of ours, Robert Canales, of Red Barn Studios, and he's all about capturing the band's like real sound. You know, he doesn't want to add any kind of effects or any like electronic drums. The drums that you hear on the album are the actual the mic'd up drums. There were no samples put in, anything. Everything is authentic on the album. There's no auto tune. There's nothing. There are mistakes in the album, like all over the place. You know, apart from that, for us, it was just figuring out how are we going to get in and do it. And like I was saying earlier, going into the studio, we're all working. You know, one of the drummer is pre-med. Actually, he's going to medical school this summer. He's moving. And so it's like we were just trying to find time to get in there. So it was weekends, late evenings, you know, just kind of like, well, I guess tomorrow I'll be really tired at work, but you know, I got to go in and record this thing. So it took us, we started, I think, late January, finished up in March. No, we finished up in April, I think. We couldn't really meet up during spring break to do a lot. Like we just tried to do our best, and you know, 10 tracks was a lot. We were actually planning 11 tracks or 12 tracks. I don't remember, but we ended up cutting some because we're like, you know what, this is just too much. we'll just do these 10 and put the rest of them on an EP or something. But yeah, we got more comfortable with going in, and we're like, none of us are getting sick. Some of us got vaccinated, you know, or we ended up all getting vaccinated, and we're just like, you know what, we just need to finish, you know. I'm tired of, like, we felt like we were wasting time, so we're like, we're gonna go in there, we're gonna finish. And that was in April, when I was like, you know what, we're gonna finish by the end of the week. I don't care if you guys have work or whatever, you're coming in and we're gonna finish the fucking album. All right, can I swear?
Yeah, you can swear, mate. I swear.
All right,
I'm an
cool.
Aussie. We swear all the time. It's like a second language to us, mate.
Yeah, so I was like, we're gonna get in there, we're gonna finish the fucking album. All right, I'm fucking tired of waiting. Okay, so we all went in, we did our parts, we did solos, vocals, finished up tracking guitars. The first thing we got done was drums, and like I forced, like, I feel bad for our drummer Ed. I'm so mean to him sometimes, because I'm like, it wasn't perfect, we're doing it again, damn it, you know. And so, you know, we spent a good while on the drums, but eventually we fixed it up. Actually, at one point, there was something wrong with one of the mics with the bass drum, and the producer was like, hey, yeah, so I know we recorded 7 tracks already, but you're gonna have to do them again, to the drummer. And the drummer was like, haha, funny joke. And he's like, I'm not joking. So, but actually, believe it or not, because of that, we ended up getting better drum takes from him, because he was so pissed off, and that fury just came out. And it,
poor
like,
Edward.
It's so raw. It sounds great. But yeah, so, you know, just over time we were able to get it all done, and it was a bit harrowing, but we got through it, you know. So
Where's the best place people can get along? And I like to chuck this in because it's a big thing for me, support. Where's the best place people can get along and chuck in pre-orders for this album, or buy music from you and support you? I'm sure you do the whole Spotify thing, but I'm a big fuck you Spotify kind of person, you know. People that only listening to Spotify, like bands on Spotify, it comes up a lot with me. People that only listen to bands on Spotify then sit back and go, I support the band. Do you? Do you really support the fucking band? You know what I mean? For the scene to go forward, and especially with what we've had with COVID over, you know, 2020 and now 2021, the bands and the arts have suffered worldwide. I know all the governments in the world, all the politicians couldn't give 2 fucks about the art sector, and the way the musicians, the artists, the live industry, not just the bands, but the live industry, the people that careers around music and putting on shows have been affected. So for me, supporting bands is always a big thing, and I try and put that in every interview as well, to plug that kind of thing too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I understand completely. You know, like I was saying, our whole, like, everything we do, touring, playing shows, all came to it just shut down. There was no more. It did suck. But if you do want to support us, if you want to pre-order the album, you can find it on Bandcamp. Just look us up, Archangel A.D. It should be one of the first things that shows up when you look up our name. You can find us also on, I think, Amazon. Yeah, on Amazon Music. You can find us on iTunes, anywhere really. Our distributor, the one we go through, sets us up on everything. And so you can find us wherever you like to purchase music or stream music, if you're into that. I know streaming doesn't really support artists, but it's nice to see the numbers anyways. Yeah. So if you want to, you can find us everywhere, honestly. And usually whenever we do any releases, I like to put them up on YouTube for free. For anybody who can't afford to support or pay for any subscriptions, I like to put it up for free on YouTube, just so people can enjoy it and to spread it, you know. Right now, I'm not super big into making a payout or making a payday with the band. That's not my priority. My priority is to spread the music, you know. And so I like the idea of putting it on a free platform so people can share it if they want.
Yeah, I like that idea too. And people, if they like the music, then they can get along and buy it. And that's why I like
Exactly.
platforms like Bandcamp. I know guys like you are just going to do this regardless of if you're getting paid, but it would be nice to be able to pay for some studio time sometime, buy a beer, and
Yeah.
you know, because playing live is a big part of that. You were talking before how you'd have to travel to go tour, and that's kind of where bands make their connection with the fans and are able to sell merch and do things like that. And I noticed you toured with Bobaflex as well. They're a cool bunch of guys. I've interviewed Marty a couple of times too, and I had to mention that one, man. You must be keen as to get on the road again as well.
Yeah, they were a bunch of cool dudes. They were super fun to play with, and that was a really great show for us. We didn't get to tour with them. We did play one show locally. Yeah. But they were really cool dudes, really genuine, very nice.
Yeah, and now they're in the Lonely Ones, which is really cool band as well. Have you got plans to tour? Have you got a tour coming up, or are you going to play this live, or what's your plans? I know it's hard and it's a shitty time to book things because things are opening and closing and opening and closing. You don't know where you stand. It's kind of hard to go, I'm going to book this show, then have it cancelled on you. It's just as fucking hard.
Yeah, it really is challenging. And for us, like, we want to tour, we want to give some support for the album, but you know, it's coming out late July, and I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, so for me, I would end up I go to school, I go back to school in August, so it's kind of like my window is really small. If things open up more, because things are pretty open in Texas, but every now and again they're kind of like, no, we're not doing this. Oh, we're doing this at only like a quarter capacity. So it's like, what is it even worth it? You know, and it, like, the monetarily, we're trying to figure out like what vehicle can we take on the road? What are we going to do with this and that? We still have to order like merch and CDs and all these things, you know? So because we don't really have a lot of capital. So it's all coming out of our own pockets and trying to figure out things like that. So we do definitely want to tour. We want to, you know, eventually do a tour of the States, go East Coast, go West Coast, something, maybe even just the South would be fine with us. But right now it's looking pretty hard because of our work schedules and money. That's always the biggest thing. It's easier for us to record and release it than to go out and support it right now. And especially with COVID, it literally adds like a whole layer of difficulty to it. So
it does, and that kind of comes back to what I was mentioning before about support. And it's great to get those listens on your Spotify, but when people are actually going out and buying your music and, you know, getting albums, then you can kind of sit back and go, oh, well, we're doing well there. Let's go for a run over there. We're actually able to afford to do stuff like that. And little things like that the people, the regular listeners don't realize. I've had it mentioned to me a few times. They're like, oh, I didn't even realize it was like that. And it's like, yeah, it is a little like that as well. You got to have that support sometimes for there to be a viable tour as well.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And one of the things we really strive to do is we would love to get onto a tour, like a tour package with a bigger name, and for totally selfish reasons, to steal fans, you know, like we want to get on a bigger package just so we can play to people. Because our last tour, the one we did in 2018, it was nice, it was successful, but for a band that has almost no name, it's hard to like headline a show and then get people to go to that show when they don't even know who you are, you know? So, but luckily for us in Texas, we finally garnered a bit of a following. Whenever we go play out of town, we usually get a pretty nice crowd. But still, it's like, if we could get on a nice tour package and get a nice big crowd, we could really build up our numbers. I don't know if you've heard of we have a band from around here locally called the Sons of Texas. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're a much bigger band than we are. They've toured internationally and done things like that. They're more in the vein of like a Pantera or I don't really know how to describe them.
Straight up heavy metal.
Yeah, just heavy metal. Yeah. You know, they got lucky enough, you know, they got a talent scout who went out and found him, And we're hoping for something like that at one point to sign either a big record deal or something. But we like being independent. We like the freedom of doing our own thing at our own pace, because it can be hard to, I guess, meet schedules and deadlines and have somebody over you like being like, why haven't you done this yet? You're not allowed to say that, you know. And
I know the
when
feeling.
we're free, I'm sorry.
I know the feeling all too well. I like being independent
Yeah.
as well, man. You kind of have a little more control and direction about where you're going and what you're doing and what you can say and what you can't say, or if you can fucking swear or not. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Do you
exactly.
have
It's.
I want to ask
Go
though,
ahead.
what we got on it? Can I ask, do you have a favorite track at the moment? I know it's probably changes every week. It does for me whenever I'm listening to music, but do you have a favorite track off the album or one that stands out the most, and why for you?
Oh man, on the album, it, like you said, it changes like every week. When we were recording it, my favorite one was Beacons, the kind of mid-tempo one that picks up in the middle. That one, just for me, like the riff is so big. Like I feel like if people don't headbang to that song, I'll just fucking quit. You know, I'll just never play music again. Because that for me, that song feels like you just have to move with that song, you know. But favorite right now, I'm trying to. I'd have to say probably the title track, Casus Belli. That one, I always go back to it just because it has so much like energy to it, and it's so like, I don't know, raw. So that one I probably jam the most out of all of them right now, at least.
The title track. And where does the name come from? While we're talking about that, I was going to ask.
Man, I hate saying this. I'm a pretty big gamer, right? And
I hate
play.
To say that. That's cool, man. Nothing wrong with being a big gamer.
Well, I draw a lot of influence from video games whenever I write my lyrics and whenever I make song titles. And for me, a song title, like the way I write songs is I take a song title and then I write lyrics around that and I try to tell a story. So Casus Belli came from this video game I play called Crusader Kings. It's a strategy game on the PC. And in that game, you have to have a Casus Belli to go to war. And Casus Belli is Latin for a cause for war. So to be able to declare war on somebody, you need a cause for war. So you have to have like inheritance rights to the land, or they have to have like fucked you over in some way for you to be able to be like, no, fuck you, we're gonna go to war, you know. So that's what like in the song, the story is somebody like going through like old documents, old like parchments and things, trying to find a reason for them to go to war. And eventually they fight, they conquer the enemy, and they rule over them at the end of it. So that's what Casus Belli, translated from Latin, literally means a cause for war. And that's literally what I say in the song. I go, Casus Belli, a cause for war. I literally put in the translation because I'm bad at writing lyrics. So
no, there's some killer lyrics in there, dude. I wouldn't be saying that. That's for sure. It had me bopping the whole way through it, dude. And I really did enjoy your lyrics and your vocal delivery as well, man. So, Justin, this has been an absolute pleasure. Everyone grab Casus Belli. Comes out 23rd of July. Justin, let us know all the links there. Head over to Bandcamp, all the rest of them. Chuck in a pre-order. Support your scene. Also, you can stream it if you like. It's all right.
Justin, if you like, yeah, it won't hurt my feelings.
It won't hurt his feelings at all. Justin, thank you very much. Do you have any last words, shout-outs, or thank yous you'd like to add in, my friend?
Just thank you to everybody who supports us. Thank you to all the fans, anybody who's willing to give us a chance. Thank you for having me on here, giving me the chance to talk. I like to talk a lot, so you know, I really appreciate the opportunity to open my mouth. You know, and you know, just please support us, pre-order, stream it, whatever you want. Check out the old stuff too. It's not half bad, in my opinion.
That's it.
But yeah, thank you once again for having me, and rock on, guys.
That's it. Cheers, Justin. Archangel A.D. Crank that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.